Yo,
Yo.
what's going on? Episode 3,
Look,
here
my
we go.
Do you know this one? You should know this.
What is it? Coffee for closers. No. Is that Alec Baldwin?
I'm fucking disappointed in you, man.
Where's it from?
Glengarry Glen Ross.
No, not
You've
familiar.
never seen that movie?
No.
Dude, it's fantastic.
Oh, might have
Kevin
to jump on that.
Spacey, Kevin Spacey, Al Pacino, Ed Woods, the one of the guys who plays um, grumpy old men, the one who
Oh,
gets the girl in the first one.
oh, John.
Not Walter Matthau, the other
No,
one.
yeah, John something. Like, I think it starts with an L. It's like
Well,
John
he's in it, and
Jack Lemon
then
or something like that.
you'll recognize everybody in it. Anyway, it's a fucking solid movie. Solid, solid, solid. And he's only in like the beginning, but he has this epic thing that like if ABC is always be closing and coffees for closers and I don't know, it's like a
So, like,
you
what's the
guys
premise? You don't get a cup of coffee until you make a sale? Is that the idea?
nah man, don't you gotta see it.
I'll watch it.
Oh, it's a solid. I can't believe you haven't seen it, so put it on your list.
There's a lot of movies out there I haven't seen. I can't keep up with
Yeah,
all of
but
them.
this is good. This is like a classic, like with good acting and shit.
I'm gonna be honest. I've never even heard of it. I don't know how I missed it. When did it come out?
Early '90s, probably.
Oh man, how did I not see that? I'm definitely sleeping.
You should pull it up. Glengarry Glen Ross.
It's like
Just
I was in the movies every other week, and then late
get
'90s.
the title, the movie poster.
Yeah.
Glengarry Glen Ross. Yeah, so Alec Baldwin. It's a sales movie, so he's there to like motivate the crew, and they sell like land, but it's cold calling and shit.
Oh, I found it. Glengarry Glen Ross.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I'm gonna keep saying that.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Well, if
Yeah,
anybody else hasn't seen it like me and wants to see it, there you
that's
go.
the scene right there.
Oh, this one.
Yeah,
It's a long one.
well, it's the trailer. Don't worry about it.
Cool though. That's it. If anybody is interested.
All right. Well, while we're on movies, because I want to talk about a different movie real quick. Did you see the remake of Roadhouse with
With Jake
Gyllenhaal?
Gyllenhaal? No, I
Yeah.
haven't. I heard it was pretty positively received. Did you see it? No,
No.
it's garbage. What didn't you like about it?
I mean, there's some okay funny parts, like it, but overall, no, it was fucking cheesy.
Well, I mean, let's be fair. The original movie's pretty cheesy.
No, the original is fantastic.
It's cheesy though.
The original is a masterpiece of film.
Yeah,
I can't
Patrick
believe
Swayze rips the dude's throat out at the end of the movie. Sorry, spoiler alert. But
that's the best part of the movie.
yeah, it's cool. I loved it as a
Actually, the
kid. But
best part of the movie. I like
to
the
say that's not cheesy.
I like when he first gets there, and he's like giving him all the rules.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's like, "Be nice."
I'm not a huge fan of the movie, but I'll even the original. But I'll be honest, it's a classic.
It's a
So
fucking great
it's a
movie.
classic.
It's one of those so bad it's good, but it's not bad. It actually is good movie.
Yeah, it's kind of even similar to his other film, Dirty Dancing. Like it's so cheesy, but it's a classic movie. And if you haven't seen Dirty Dancing, like even if you're,
I don't think Dirty Dancing's cheesy.
oh, it's pretty
I think it
cheesy.
is what it is. It's like a da-da-da-da.
It's fine. I don't
It's
like
Dirty
hate
Dancing.
either film. They're just not
Did you
like at
see
the
the
top
second
of my
one,
list.
Havana Nights? It came out like 25 years later.
Havana Nights. No, is that like a
Yeah,
sequel
I
to
didn't
it?
see it either. I didn't see that one. I mean, I've seen a lot of fucking movies.
Speaking of movies, so the other day I was watching Demolition Man.
Hmm.
I know you're very familiar with the movie. Anybody who
Yeah.
hasn't seen it, it's Wesley Snipes, Sylvester Stallone, Sandra Bullock. It came out in like I don't know. I want to say 1994 off the top of my
Um,
head, maybe 95.
Benjamin Bratt is in it,
Yeah, yeah. The cast is stacked.
and so is the guy who hangs out with Adam Sandler.
Rob Schneider.
Here you go.
Yeah, Dennis Leary's also in it. Yeah, the cast is pretty. It's pretty stacked. Um, So, just to explain this film real quick, it's like a kind of a futuristic, I don't want to say dystopian, but like it's a futuristic totalitarian society that they live in, right? Prior to that, Wesley Snipes and Sylvester Stallone's character gets frozen, like cryogenically frozen for like 50 years, and then they get woken up like 50 years later in this new society. And anyway, so watching this movie, it has a lot of like futuristic ideas and tones to it. And I don't know about you, but I found most of them comical, like back in the day when they first came out.
Yeah.
Like, so one of the things they do, like when they're, listening to music in the car, is music isn't really a thing anymore. They actually just listen to like commercials, like these short, like 20-second commercials, like a McDonald's commercial, right?
Hmm.
Which sounds silly, and in many ways it is. Now nowadays we don't have people like listening to commercials like music.
This is the most popular station in town. Wall-to-wall mini-tunes. You call them commercials.
Here's that classic you've all been waiting for. The #1 request of the day. Armor hot dogs.
Kids eat Armor hot dogs.
Oh, wow. This is my fave.
Skinny kids, kids who climb on rocks, top kids, sissy kids,
Even kids with chicken pox love hot dogs.
Armor hot dogs. The dogs kids love to buy.
Somebody put me back in the fridge.
I think the premise of that is really about the attention span. And I've noticed that mine has certainly been affected, in the last 10, 20 years or so. I don't know about yours, but, I seem to have less of an attention span that I used to have. And I think this is mostly, you can mostly see this in a lot of the younger people nowadays. And to be fair, they're young. We were all young once, and you generally, whether you were born in, 2005 or 1965, generally speaking, if you're a kid, you're going to have a short attention span. Anyway, so it does a couple things that I really found ridiculous at the time, but now many of these things have actually come to fruition. So the cryogenically frozen part, that was science fiction, at least, for us back in, the mid 90s. Well, that's the thing. Are they freezing like actual people? Not per se. But they freeze, like embryos, for example, and they can store them for however long. So that's no longer science fiction. That's actually reality. The censorship in the movie. Every time Sylvester Stallone drops a curse word, he gets fined by the Los Angeles San Andrean government or whatever it
Yeah.
is that runs the show, right? Which also to me sounded quite comical and ridiculous. But that is also going on nowadays. Not censoring or not fining people for cursing per se, but the censorship, which is pretty big discussion, I think
Okay.
nowadays.
Where the goddamn guns?
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality standard.
Fuck you.
And then there's a couple other parameters like so Dennis Leary's character, for example, he doesn't want to conform to the society. He doesn't want to live amongst all of these rules in this.
Yeah, he lives
totalitarian-
underground. I got you.
Yeah, so he lives underground in the sewers. Not necessarily because society has shunned him per se, but because he doesn't want to live in the current society.
According to Cocteau's plan, I'm the enemy. Because I like to think. I like to read. I'm into freedom of speech and freedom of choice. I'm the kind of guy who likes to sit in a greasy spoon and wonder, gee, should I have the T-bone steak or the jumbo rack of barbecue ribs with the side order of gravy fries? I want high cholesterol. I want to eat bacon and butter and buckets of cheese, okay? I want to smoke a Cuban cigar the size of Cincinnati in the non-smoking section. I want to run through the streets naked with green jello all over my body reading Playboy magazine. Why? Because I suddenly might feel the need to, okay, pal? I've seen the future. You know what it is? It's a 47-year-old virgin sitting around in his beige pajamas, drinking a banana broccoli shake, singing, I'm an Oscar Mayer wiener.
Building on the sewer thing. Again, I mean, the ideology is different, but so I was reading the other day that there's rumored to be about 1,500 people, homeless people, that live in the sewers and tunnels of Las Vegas.
Of where? Ooh, shit. Of where?
Of Las Vegas.
Oh, I heard that too.
Yeah, apparently there's 1,500 people, give or take, that are living under the city in Las Vegas. Not for the same reasons that Dennis Leary was, but
Right.
again, when you look at this, like, oh, people living in the sewers, that's fiction. Well,
Well, if you don't have any else to live, or you're like a predator.
Of course, I'm not blaming the homeless people for staying down there. Where are they going to go?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they have to go somewhere. I'm just simply pointing out the analogy that, people living in the sewer in Demolition Man is not fiction. It's actually occurring today. I'm sure there were people living in the sewers of New York City back in the 80s too, but nothing
No,
like 1,500 people.
there are plenty of similarities in Demolition Man that you can find today.
Yes.
I mean, they use that shit all the time on the internet, on the line.
Yeah, it was really just shocking for me to be like, oh my God, this is actually happening. Oh my God, this is happening too. Oh my God, this already happened. It kind of blew my mind because I hadn't seen the movie in a while. So. In any case, if anybody hasn't seen it, highly recommend it. Go check it out. It's just a cheesy 90s action flick with sci-fi elements.
Classic.
But,
Phenomenal.
But yeah, it's really good. And a lot of the themes are absolutely relevant right now.
Wesley Snipes at his finest.
Well, Wesley Snipes is the man. He's insane.
Rocky at his finest.
Yeah, Stallone too. And Sandra Bullock. I think
I'm a
that
big
movie...
fan of Stallone. Stallone gets a lot of hate, but I love a lot of his movies.
Yeah, who doesn't like
You ever see
Stallone?
Oscar?
No.
You know, when it's like a comedy, but he's a mafia boss.
No, I haven't seen that.
Marissa Tomei is his daughter.
Oh, she's great. Great actress.
Yeah, it's funny. You should check. Yeah, okay. Well, it's called Oscar.
Yeah, I'll have to check that one out too. Who doesn't like Sylvester Stallone? Like, what did he do? Besides
Daylight.
make entertaining movies, are they Grammy or
No.
Oscar worthy? No, of course not. But
Daylight, Cliffhanger. Rocky's
Cliffhanger.
definitely Oscar worthy.
Rocky, yeah. Well, Rocky's kind of his magnum opus. If
Yeah, I think Rocky 5. I think he did excellent. He played that beat up dumb dude from getting hit in the face too much and all down on his luck. It was great. I loved it.
Yeah, did you ever see the original story about how that came to fruition? He basically shopped the idea of Rocky around to several studios, but he wanted to be in full control. He wanted to star in it
Yeah.
and all that other stuff, and they all rejected him. Not all of them, of course. I don't know what studio, whoever made that movie. But yeah, he was real adamant on that.
Wasn't it Paramount? Isn't it like I feel like I
Could be
see that horse with the wings.
Yeah, I think that is
Well, that was
Paramount.
TriStar,
The
right? Is that
Pegasus.
TriStar?
Or maybe it is TriStar, yeah, the Pegasus, yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a fucking producer.
It doesn't really matter at the end of the day, but obviously somebody finally took a chance on him, and then boom, Rocky blows up into what...
All right. Well, look this way. Can you think of a Sylvester Stallone movie you don't like?
I mean, I'm not a big fan of like Rocky 5 or, the one that...
Well, I
didn't
just
even
he was
see the
excellent
one that
in Rocky
came out.
5.
What's that?
He's excellent in Rocky 5. What are you talking about?
Oh, he's
I
fine. His acting's fine. I'm just not a big fan of the film. I don't know.
I didn't watch anything after. I haven't seen Rocky 6, but I did see Creed 1, and I've seen most of Creed 2, but I haven't seen 3 yet.
I've seen all the Creed movies. They're good. I think they would probably go in order. The first one's the best, in my opinion, and the second one is not as good, and then the third one's good. It's just not as good as the first two.
If you look at the documentaries of Stallone, he's really pissed about the second one, and he's not in the third.
Yeah, I heard mixed stories about that. I heard that he originally said that he was going to pass the torch and then wanted back in, and then I also heard that he was supposed to be in it for the whole, from the whole get-go, and they shut him out at the last minute.
Look, I haven't seen 3, right? But I have heard the conversation about it. Is Rocky didn't want to take the Creed character into a deep, dark place that 3 goes into. He wanted the story arc to go a different way.
So creative
And
differences.
that's he's like, if he gets all this, I'm not going to be in the fucking movie. So he's not in the movie. Maybe they'll make up and they'll do the next one. Who knows?
The second one's kind of bizarre, almost like because it's kind of flip flopped. Like in the first Creed film, right? Adonis or whatever. He's the, he's the challenger, so to speak. He's the guy that's trying to rise up through the ranks. He's also got this thing going on mentally where, his he doesn't want to like ruin his father's legacy, so to speak. So but the second film kind of flip flops the whole thing. Like when the movie starts, Adonis is already like, champ and already established himself, and then you have the Russian contender who is now where Adonis was. He's in the same position that Adonis was in the first film. So when I got to the end of the movie and I'm watching him fight, and I'm not going to spoil it, I had a really hard time deciding who I wanted to root for because you kind of like both of them. I'm like really sympathetic to Drago, and then on the other hand, we've been with Adonis now since the first Creed movie, and he's a good dude, and I want to see both of them win.
I haven't seen all of Rocky 2. I saw most of it.
Rocky 2 or Creed 2?
Creed 2, I'm sorry, Creed 2. Creed 2, when Ivan Drago shows up at Rocky's restaurant and tells him that he's there and his kid's going to fight, yada, yada, yada. And then I watched a little bit after that, but I got the feeling in the beginning the way Creed was acting was similar to Rocky 3.
Yes, it is. It is. Where
Yeah.
like he's made it big, he's all like engulfed in the fame and everything. Not that he's like
Yeah, and then Mr. T kicks his ass.
because his heart's not in it. Yeah.
Yeah, and he brings him back to fucking normal, and then he goes and beats up Mr. T.
Well,
And-
Creed 2 plays out in a sort of similar manner. Again, no spoilers, but it does seem to be a rehash of themes, I think, from Rocky 3, and at least some of the themes, anyway.
Okay.
Whatever happened to Mr. T? Is he still around? Mr. T is the man.
Oh, no.
When was the last time you seen Mr. T in anything?
I think he was selling something a couple of years ago. Wasn't he selling ShamWows or some shit?
I don't know.
The towel.
ShamWows. Yeah. I have no idea. I haven't seen him in a while. I hope he's doing well.
Oh, here's another throwback for you. Michelle today she watches Judge Judy reruns, and Joey Buttafuoco over here.
Joey
was on-
Buttafuoco. Oh, from In Living Color.
Yeah, as soon as she said, "I'm a Joey Buttafuoco over here."
Oh my God, what a tragic
Yeah.
story! But Living Color did a really good job of turning it into comedy.
Oh, it's so good.
That show was awesome.
Yeah.
Those old skit shows. All right, so yeah, I don't. You got anything else with Rocky or Creed that you want to talk about?
Well, I guess you can start bringing up the stuff. But while you're pulling up one thing, let me mention this. Pull up whatever's first. We'll get to it. But American universities and colleges have received $19 billion from foreign sources that have no record nor reported dates of the receipts, per the Department of Education released April 6, 2023. A total of $47 billion to college universities in America from foreign assets.
So I'm gonna go out on a limb here. So what is all this money for? Is this funding the protests? By the way, did you ever notice
No. This isn't like today. This is over time.
over time? Okay.
Yeah, so they're paying for some kind of influence.
First of all, did you ever notice that all these protesters all seem to have the same tent? Like, it's almost like there was a sale on tents in all of these cities at Target or Walmart, and they all went out and bought the same damn tent.
Yeah, they all went to Dick's and cleared the shelf. That's why
All
there's
of
like
them.
10 green, 10 red, 10 blue.
I find that a little suspect.
But I have seen the one tent. That one green tent is very common.
When I say all of them, they're not all the same, but there's a whole lot of people with the same damn tent.
That one tent.
It's almost like somebody gave them to them. Like, here's tents if you want to stay on campus overnight.
But what's funny about that is if you see the way, if you compare it to a couple years ago when they were burning cities down and shit, right?
Who was burning cities down?
The cops kind of let it happen. They kind of stood back. They jumped in real quick to clear out these universities to get rid of because they don't want attention brought to the topic.
Are you talking about the current topic with the Palestinian and Israeli conflict?
Yeah, because look at the difference in police response to the two things. Have you ever seen the cops come in and beat the shit out of people like this right away?
No.
I mean, there are some have been violence. I'm not talking about the people who in Colombia that like took over the building. But
Yeah.
there are a bunch of people just sitting there. I don't agree with them. I think sitting out there and protesting like that is stupid. But
Why is
the
it
way the
stupid?
cops are coming and clearing some of them out is a little bit out of line
Oh, it's definitely out of line.
and very quick to respond.
It's definitely out of line, some of the things they did. I understand where they took over the building or whatever that hall was that they took over. I understand going in and removing them from that. But as far as them peacefully protesting on campus, even with the tents, I have no problem with that. I mean, do you have issue with that? And if so, what is it?
I hate the people who block traffic. I fucking hate
That's
that.
stupid.
They're actually doing it right now.
That's really stupid. Go ahead.
As of an hour ago or 2 hours ago, they were, because I live close enough to Philly that I follow Philly like news, whatever,
Right.
and a little bit south of Penn at 33rd and Market, there's like 300 people, pro-Palestinian
Stopping
walker
traffic?
group. What?
Are they stopping traffic? Blocking
Well,
pedestrians from
they're
getting
not
by?
block. No, they don't block traffic sometimes, but when it's a group like that, they will just wander through like an intersection that so the lights don't really matter. You have to wait for everybody to pass.
Pass.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But I don't think they're standing in the intersection blocking all four lanes.
Well, I'm okay with them just passing by, but standing there blocking traffic, again, I'm all for protesting, but this is not the way to protest. I mean, if you're protesting, say, oil companies because you don't like oil, but you're standing in the middle of a bridge blocking normal pedestrians from crossing back and forth, what kind of message is that sending? Like, how is that helping at all? If you want to protest the oil companies, post up outside the damn oil company. Protest there. I'm sorry?
Blocking the bridge is counterproductive.
Yeah, I don't see what that does except get all of those people to now hate you because you're ruining or messing up or inconveniencing their day. For a message, they may even agree with you. Yeah, I'm all for it. I'm totally supportive. Now, can I get by, please? Thank you. I have to go to work, and I don't work for what you're protesting against.
It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
No, because they're like misinformed. It's almost like, oh, we're gonna go make a statement, and we're gonna go do it with. It just doesn't make sense.
Misinformed? They're crazy. They're whacked out. What's going to
I
make
would
you
say
go
misinformed. Well, I mean, again, if you're, I'm all for the protest. If you want to make your voice be heard, there's a way to do it, and then there's a stupid way to do it. And blocking traffic is a stupid way to do it, I think.
In Europe, you see a lot of the times like people just get out and beat the shit out of them and pull them off the road.
Also, not the answer, but yeah.
That's funny. It's not America, but it's funny. For a video, it's funny.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me on many levels. Like, why would you do that? Like I said, some of these people you're protesting in front of and blocking from getting to work may even agree with you, and you're still blocking them. Why? Anyway, there was something else about that I wanted to bring up. Oh, like the people, like, have you seen them? Like, it kind of stopped, but this was probably about 6 months, a year ago, where people would show up at like an NBA game and like super glue themselves to the court. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I saw a lot of people super gluing themselves to the road too.
Yeah, it's wild. People like handcuffing themselves, chaining themselves, like, and again, you're at a basketball game trying to send out your message, like, again, just to get on TV. That's just not the way to do it. You'd be better off starting a channel.
Let's see. Jerry Seinfeld spoke at a college, and people walked out on him. He was like the person who gives the speech at graduation.
Yeah.
Whatever that's called. Well, Jerry
Why'd they
Seinfeld
walk out
was
on him?
in college, and people walked out because he was pro-Israel.
He's allowed to have his opinion. I'm allowed to disagree with him, but he's allowed to do that. And
Let's see. Yeah, I feel you. They canceled a bunch of graduations too, which kind of sucks. I mean,
I saw that.
A bunch of those kids had to go through COVID and then get no graduation either.
Our education system is all jacked up.
Well, it's a different topic.
It is. I am glad, for whatever the protests are about, I do like to see the young people getting involved. So regardless of whether you think the protests are good or bad, I like that the young people are actually, involved in what's going on in the world today.
Well, it's good to see young whippersnappers moving around out there,
Yeah.
getting off their damn computers.
Yeah, whatever your take is, even if I disagree with it, I think you should get out there and voice it. So I'm happy to see that they're doing that and not blocking traffic or super gluing themselves to basketball courts. Or maybe they are. I don't know. All right, so I know you sent me this earlier. This is a little quick speech that Joe Biden made earlier. I'm going to go ahead and play it for you guys, and then we'll talk
Oh, this
about
is
it.
funny.
Police were heroes that day.
Look at his face. Look at his
Donald
eyes.
Trump lacked the courage to act. The brave women and men in
He doesn't
blue
even
all
blink.
across this nation should never forget that. You can't be pro-insurrection and pro-cop. You can't be pro-insurrection and pro-democracy. You can't be pro-insurrection and pro-American.
Guys, we're basically out of time, but just one line each reaction.
I mean, Biden is trying to set the comparison between him and Trump.
Not just set the comparison, but bait him into it. The best thing that can happen for Democrats is a Donald Trump announcement.
Nothing drags more passion out of the president than Trump, and you kind of see it there. That's a good thing for Joe Biden.
Okay.
Well, those people were not in the same world as everybody else. But you saw that they're actually in a debate, right? They agreed to 2 debates.
They did. No,
Trump
I
and
didn't.
Ron-
I didn't.
And no, yeah, they agreed to 2. But the way the election, there's the debate committee between the Republicans and the Democrats normally is held by, like, it's a group. It's like an organization. It's not legal, right? It's not part of the government. It's just a group that has been doing the debates for, you know what I mean? On CNN,
I'm
or
following
on
you.
whatever,
So it was
it's
like a
group.
third-party company hosting this shit.
Yeah, that always does it, but it's
All
all
right.
mixed with them anyway. But because of the rules and RFK's polling too high, would include RFK in that they sidestepped that committee and went to a different one where it's only Trump and Biden.
So RFK's excluded?
Yeah,
What?
I just told you why.
I know, but
They're both because they're both afraid to debate him.
well, isn't that really one of the biggest problems we have right now? Like with our world
Dude.
as general, like not communicating, not speaking with each other, not allowing people to
Well,
speak.
yeah, of course. I'm surprised they're even having a debate. I was almost guaranteed they wouldn't have it. I'm kind of excited to see Joe Biden go out there. Oh, you know what else they're doing? There's no crowd.
Well, you said it's virtual, right?
No, it's not virtual. The DNC convention might be virtual. This debate
I got those confused.
is going to
Okay.
be like not staged, but there's no live audience.
Is there a mediator?
Yeah, but I might even be predetermined questions, but I don't know.
I'm sure they're scripted questions.
But Trump's got it together more than Biden does.
Yeah,
So-
the questions are definitely going to be scripted. There might even be a teleprompter somewhere. Somewhere. If Joe Biden's wearing eyeglasses that day, I'm going to assume he's got a little teleprompter in his glasses. So
Well, yeah, there's 2 of them, and I don't think they're till June, so a lot can happen.
all right, well, I'm sure we'll be talking about them and pulling out points after it happens.
Trump is speaking at the Libertarian convention, so is RFK. I think I talked to you about that.
That I
right?
saw, yeah.
Okay.
I did see.
All right, what were you gonna say?
So I was gonna just mention some of like what he said in the speech. You can't be pro-insurrection and pro-American or whatever he said, something like that.
Pro cop.
Or yeah, you can't be pro-cop and like. Again,
There
this
was
is,
there was a couple. There was a police murder today or yesterday that's got the national attention.
Gotcha.
I don't remember which one it was, but
Well, why can't I be pro both? Why do we always have to pick sides? Why can't I support the police and also denounce the police in specific situations when they do something wrong? Why does it all have to be all or nothing? I never.
that's the game.
That's the game. Division.
That's the game.
Divide and conquer. That's the game they keep giving us over and over, and we keep falling for that shit. That's got to stop. Like, you can have an opinion that isn't entirely on one side. You can agree with the Democrats, and you can agree with the Republicans.
Well, you shouldn't agree with either of them
Well, no, because that's part of the divide and conquer.
if you're honest with yourself.
Yeah. Well, again, the two-party system is a huge chunk of why we are where we are right now. Because again, we don't really get to. We get 2
It's
options.
not a choice.
And I think South Park put it best. I got crap and then a turd sandwich. So it's like, well, great. We're going to lose either way. Or whatever South Park's reference.
Can you think of 2 less popular candidates in any election?
Well, I don't know if it's fair to say that Trump isn't popular. Trump has a massive following.
Right. The majority of people didn't want Biden Trump again.
That's true. I saw that. Yeah, this has got to be probably. I don't want to say it's the worst election that we've had because it is interesting. I mean, again, RFK really kind of throws a wedge into it. How many how many times have we seen three legit candidates run for president? I can only
Well,
think of two: RFK and Ross Perot.
yeah, that's all I can think of.
I mean, so this is pretty
I mean,
remarkable.
if you go farther back,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I'm sure. If we go back into the 1800s, and yeah.
not, but
But I think this is really what needs to happen. You know, again, we can't have this, turd sandwich and crack. You know, it's got
but
to
we
be.
do.
There's got to
Well,
be
we do.
options.
Okay, but we do.
Well, we don't because there's RFK in the mix too. You know.
Okay, I still don't think he's going to win because people are still going to vote for Biden and people are still going to vote for Trump.
Right.
Just because RFK's in there doesn't make him that much better. He's only pissed because the Democrats screwed him over when he technically probably should be their candidate.
Yeah, you know what that tells me? That the Democrats would rather lose to Trump than put RFK up as their front runner. Because if they had put RFK up against Trump, we have a whole different race right now. The last time I saw the polls, I don't want to say Trump was smashing Biden, but he's legitimately ahead according to the polls that I saw. Like it's not
but
really close.
when you add RFK into those polls, it changes things.
It changes
and
it, yeah.
it does seem that RFK is pulling more from Trump right now
I've seen that.
than it does Biden.
I've seen that.
But it's not the first time. In 2016, Bernie Sanders beat Hillary in the primary, or whatever it was. And they were like, no, Hillary's going to do it.
Well,
And
'cause
then Bernie Sanders was still like, okay, vote for Hillary.
Well, Hillary's totally down with their agenda and has been for a long time, which is why she's still in power. But yeah,
Which is
right.
why they screwed over Bernie Sanders.
Which is why they pushed Bernie out the door, right? And RFK, I got to think, wouldn't be down with their agenda either, which is why he got pushed out the door, and now they're running with Biden. Which to me, again, it's crazy. I mean, this guy, like we've said it numerous times. He can't even finish a sentence, you know. And
Well, we'll find out at the debate.
we will. I mean, that should be a good one. Should be really should be good. And I'm sure, Trump will certainly say some comical things, whether people find it funny or not. I'm sure he'll have.
All right, because they're speaking about politicians. Bring up the toilet seat.
The toilet seat.
The toilet seat. Any day now, Paul. Any day now.
You want to do the tech stuff? We'll switch roles. I'll just talk.
Hell no.
Oh,
Look at this guy.
I mean, what is this? What am I even looking at right now? Here's the caption.
What's his position? Does it say or just
It says
says
he was running on a social justice platform and was praised as one of his district's diverse candidates.
So he licks the toilet.
Yeah, that's a good way to get people to respect you and vote for you, I guess.
Is he trying to say the toilets are so clean I can lick them?
I have no idea what the message is here that you're trying to send. I had no idea. Other than nobody should vote for you, because that's the message I get from watching this. And apparently he wasn't just licking the toilet seat, but he was consuming something too.
He's a little sicko is what he is.
I mean,
He likes to be a dirty little boy.
I don't oh, look at this. You see this?
Right there.
Again, I don't know what message you're trying to get across here, but it's not coming across to me. Is that how they run in Germany? Is this like normal?
Obviously not.
I
Man,
highly
but
doubt it. Yeah.
You just got some weird people getting their immigration problem is way different than ours.
Yeah, we didn't even really talk about the open borders yet. I think a lot of Americans think that it's simply just happening here, but no. Is that where you're going with this?
Yeah, I saw some videos on Twitter, like in European countries, there's just like dudes, like they'll stand outside a restaurant and look in the window and just drop their drawers and start bopping their baloney right there.
I've seen stuff like that too. Have you
Yeah.
seen London recently?
Yeah, man.
It's like
Ireland's wilding out too.
Ireland is like, I don't know if they're rioting yet, but they're really mad. I've seen like mass protests and stuff from the Irish people regarding all of the extra immigration. And it's crazy because when they interview a lot of these people, like they're like, no, we're all for immigration, but again, the amount of people that have been brought in the last few years farly exceeds what it's really supposed to. You know,
Yeah, and they dump them all in like a city with no plan, and there's just thousands of people standing in the street with nothing to do.
yeah.
And then they get all rowdy, and the population gets rowdy, and that's gonna be who's gonna fight when the shit goes crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty wild to see that. And again, it's not just Germany, it's not just the UK. It's happening in Spain, it's happening in Italy, Ireland, as you mentioned, and God knows how many other countries. But the real question is, why is this happening? And I don't know, like how much information you have, but some of these people are getting bussed into the country. Some of them have been flown into the country.
It depends on what area you're talking
Of
about. I
course.
mean, it's not like the West hasn't disrupted so many third world countries and caused refugees because we're trying to topple dictatorships and put in friendly governments and causing wars, which causes refugees to get the hell out of there. And on our border, our southern border, I have seen that people are getting bussed. I've seen that there's an app that you can apply and will fly you into the country from wherever you are.
I saw
But
that.
but remember the Democrats during Obama's thing, they were like, "Come here," and even the mayors or during Trump are like, "We're a sanctuary city. We'll take care of you." You're just incentivizing people to take the risk and make that journey.
Right. It gives you like a affirmation, like, oh, if I do this, the city of Chicago already said they'd take me in. So I was kind of on the fence about it, but now I'm definitely going to do it.
Yeah, it's a better option than what they're coming from.
Oh, no doubt. And I don't blame any of them for coming over here. If you live in a country where maybe your quality of life is not good, I'm not mad at them. I'm not upset with them at all. Like, I totally understand why they're here. I would do the same thing if I were them. Not just here, but, wherever they are.
Yeah, well, they're risking, especially the women and children are risking everything by trying to make that dangerous ass journey.
Well, that just shows you the quality of life in wherever they came from is not good. Because why would you risk it otherwise? You wouldn't
Yeah,
risk it.
oh,
would you?
yeah.
I wouldn't. If I had a good life in hypothetically, I don't know, whatever, any country, Colombia, why would I risk getting killed and injuring and hurting my family to trek up here? That just doesn't make sense. So that tells me that the quality of life is pretty poor. But still, like I saw a video where they're at the Panama border, right? Or like it's like right after, there's like a part, I think it's in Panama, where like there's no roads. Like you
The
can't
Darien
cross.
Darien Pass.
Darien Pass, that's it. Yeah, so you actually have to get off and walk basically through this jungle area. And I think it's like a 20-mile stretch or something like that, if I recall correctly. So it's not like you're going to be in and out in 5 minutes.
Yeah, like you can only bring like mules through there.
Yes. And a lot of the people that have trekked through there have actually hired like cartel people and stuff to protect them. You pay the cartel, will give them whatever you have, and they escort you through.
Yeah, and hoping that they don't rob you.
Right. So there's this, well, that's the risk you take. Again, why would you risk all of this if you have a decent quality of life wherever you were from before? So, so one of the things I saw on this video, it's like this little station, right? And it's actually a Red Cross. Like there were Red Cross vehicles.
Yeah, sometimes you get away from the mic and I can't hear you, dude. You got to stay on that.
Sorry.
thing.
So there's like this Red Cross center. I don't know if it's Red Cross, but there's certainly Red Cross vehicles there. And in the video, you see all of these people aboard these. They're not even school buses, dude. They're like luxury buses. Like it's like nicer than the buses that I see busing people around this city. Who's paying for this? The flights, all of that stuff. Who is funding this? Again, if these people are coming from nothing and they have nothing, don't tell me that they saved up money and bought a plane ticket here. I'm not going to buy that. That might be okay. That might be true for some of them. But
In that scenario, the ones who are using the app and getting flown in from wherever their country of origin is, we're paying for it because it's a government-run program.
So what's the program? Are you?
There is an app that if you are trying to get asylum or get over here for whatever reason, go on the app, you answer a bunch of questions, and if you get approved, you go to the airport and they will fly you here.
I understand that. I'm just trying to figure out, like, well, who's behind the app? Has this been going on for a while? Has this app been available
It's
for
a
decades? Like,
Oh no, it's not that long, but it's been around long enough that it's been used for a minute.
okay. So yeah, really, just I have questions. Again, who's running the show here? And again, if we're paying for it, do we get a say in it? And again, I don't want to shut the borders to immigrants. This country is built on immigration, but we do have limits. We can only take
There
in so
are
many without destroying the economy. Go
there's
ahead.
drastic number changes between the 4 years of Trump and the 4 years of Biden of the amount of people crossing
Oh, I know.
is ridiculous.
I know it's staggering. Like millions. Like we're talking about millions of people have come in over the last, I think, 2 years or something like that. 3 years.
What do people think is going to happen?
I don't think most people are too concerned about it because they haven't really thought about any of the
They don't see it.
repercussions. I'm sorry?
Because they don't see it.
They don't see it. Yeah.
They don't see it.
Most people are too preoccupied with, going to work and, whatever else they got going on, life TikTok videos and whatever. But yeah, it really is concerning because what is the ultimate result after all of this happens? And again, like you mentioned, these people are kind of just standing on the street corner with nowhere to go. You know, how long are they going to do that for before,
Well,
human behavior does
you're
human behavior?
all right. Maybe because I'm trying to think this out. If I was the state or part of the state or working up there, why would I want massive immigration, illegal immigration to come through in 2024? Well, there have been power grabs lately by the state against definitely against free speech. We have a very possible outcome of violence after our election and during the election. And if you add in the fact that for 80 years they've been purposely trying to dissolve the family core and break away family unity, and some kind of revolution happens here, or people finally get pissed off about the money and do whatever civil disobedience or whatever, it's going to be a lot harder for the people to unite if half the people don't give a shit.
Definitely.
And they're here for other reasons. You know what I mean? Like, they're not here to save their country. They're here to, for whatever the reason is here, and then they'll have to make a choice. Or everyone's going to have to make a choice.
Yeah, but
you can tip the numbers in your favor by letting people in and promising them free shit.
yeah, I see your point, and I agree with it. I think from the state's perspective, like you kind of mentioned, kind of like hinted on, like, if they create this division, right, and half the people don't care or don't know what's going on, and eventually if something does happen, they're going to want to know what's going on, and where are they going to get their information from? Right from the state.
Yeah.
So the state's going to tell them whatever the heck they want to tell them just to get them to fall in line, and then before you know it, we're all at odds. Divide and conquer, over and over and over.
Regardless of who wins the election, they're gonna argue that it was stolen.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
No side is taking this well. No way. I mean, the only except RFK. RFK and his people might stand down if he loses, but I think if Biden loses, yep, they're Democrats are gonna be like, yep, election was rigged. And if Trump loses, we already know the Republicans are gonna be like, election was rigged. And maybe I don't know. I don't really trust the election practices that we have in hand, so I have concerns about that in general.
Well, no, I don't trust them either. I don't really trust anything the government shows our way.
Same. So I'm going to question it either way.
And I mean, there's been too many things. Like, there have been. I'm not talking about this makes Biden win, right? Because that takes thousands upon thousands of votes to sway a state. But there have been many instances of more local elections when they have video cameras of like people coming from the campaign office and then dumping bundles of votes into like the blue mailboxes that are outside and shit
That's pretty
to
shady.
sway local elections. You can look it up.
I believe you. It's
And
pretty
then
shady.
recently, even in Georgia and Wisconsin, they were talking about finding all these votes and all. And the guy had the USB drive, and they got him on camera saying how they can change the whole election.
I saw
and then
that interview. Yeah.
And then you know what I mean? Like,
Yep. And he was saying that back, like, wasn't that video old? Isn't that from like 2006? This guy was saying he could rig elections, and
oh, I don't remember.
I think it's old. I could be wrong, but I think it was in like a video that came out maybe like 20 years ago or something like that. He was saying that they could do that, and here we are 20 years later. Now what can they do? We don't even know.
They can probably do it without even plugging it in. They can probably do it
We
from
don't
a
even
cell
know.
phone.
Yeah, it's yeah. So I think you're right. I think no matter who wins this election, the other side is going to call foul, no doubt. Speaking,
Yeah, I don't. Unless it's like an obvious landslide for one side. You know what I mean?
right. I mean, again, I kind of expected it to be somewhat of a landslide. Again, obviously we've spoken about, Trump and Biden and how we're not fans of either, but I just don't see any way Biden wins this election. I really don't. Just from, again, just from looking at the guy. Just
If it was,
just listen
if it
to
was
him.
today, I would think that Trump would probably win. But a lot of people will still vote for Biden. That's what I'm saying. People like they're blue no matter who. And the guy, like, we don't have to explain how it is, but like, how do they? If you're a Democrat voter, right, or you support the DNC, how do you think that the powers of the DNC feel about you as the voter that they're giving you Joe Biden and then took away your decision to have a primary, took away your decision to hear anybody else, knowing that you're so loyal or dumb that you'll vote for them anyway? That's what they think of you.
Yeah. I
And the
heard,
Republicans think Trump is good enough for the Republicans.
well,
You're not choosing; they are, and they're betting that you'll keep sticking to the other guy's worse than my guy. So the lesser of two evils, which is still evil,
right.
is what people think that they have to do, even though all the evidence is stacked on how they're cheating, how they're rigging it against third parties, make it harder for third parties to get in. Larry Sharp, libertarian, running for governor of New York. He got all the signatures that he needed to get on the ballot, and when they found out they had the signatures, they passed a law and raised it by 5,000 signatures. Larry Sharp, check out his show. We'll tell you about it.
Yeah, I'll have to look into him. But yeah, it's just
Yeah.
again, I actually heard that that they were trying to run with Harris months back, like, but Biden apparently refused to stand down, which I find crazy because again, he's got to know he's old and maybe he should retire. No, or do you think that really, or do you think that's legit? Just
You're in and out with the
refused
mic,
to
man.
step down.
You're in and out with that mic.
Oh, I'm just in and out.
You
in
gotta
general.
try to center it more in front of you.
Yeah, I probably just need to redo this whole setup, which I'll work on for the next episode. But it also doesn't stay. It keeps,
Regardless
like,
of what Joe
raising
said,
up on me.
if Joe even spoke, you know what I mean, a coherent sentence, like people will still vote for the guy. I just don't get it. It baffles me.
Well,
It baffles me how Democrat voters can be like, I hate this dude so much that I vote for this guy.
Well,
And
you
I
don't think
don't,
Republican
and I,
voters
and
do
I
that too?
don't see the wool being pulled over my eyes, accepting that these are my choices. I mean, all you have to do is vote something else. I'm not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you don't think
A third
Republicans
party
do
guy
that
can
too?
win. A third party person can win if you vote for a third party. But no one will vote for him. But they will if you do it. It's
Yeah.
fear mongering.
It is. And again, you keep bringing it up like we have two choices and neither of them are good. And again, why is it just two choices? I'm pretty
Because
sure
it's
that's
supposed to be. That's how they made it. That's the plan. So
who's
stop
they?
asking why, like you don't know. They did it on purpose.
Right. I totally agree with you. You know, but yeah, who's they, and why? Well, why is because obviously we're easier to control when we only have two options. Well, you got crap and a turd sandwich. Pick one of them. Is what you got.
Because it ensures that they stay in power.
Yes, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You're right. So I think too when you talk about like why people would vote for Joe, right? Well, one like you said is because they're just diehard Dems and they're just going to vote for whoever the Democratic candidate is, regardless. I mean, it could be freaking Hitler and they're going to vote for him because well it's Democrats, so
They
you got to
should
vote Democrat.
still.
That's a super extreme analogy, obviously.
If the only reason you vote for someone is because your party backs them, you're a schmuck.
Yes, I agree. If you're just
Okay.
voting Democrat just because you're a Democrat and you think you're required to vote for this person, then yeah, you're an idiot.
Schmuck. Okay. Now what?
So, and then the second thing I think too, which you kind of mentioned before, is a lot of these people are just voting for Biden because they think Trump is like the next, dictator and he wants to take over the globe. And man, fuck Trump. But I've never heard him say anything like that. Like, I don't think that about him at all. That's crazy.
Yeah, considering the fact that Biden's gotten us into the wars that Trump didn't get. Not that I'm defending Trump, but there were no new wars under Trump.
Biden's way more authoritative than Trump is to me, so I don't know where that argument even stems from, other than to just try to smear the dude because, well, he's the opposition. I just, yeah, it's crazy. That's crazy to me.
Just a couple of days ago, Biden added more additional tariffs on to China.
He did?
Yeah, just the other day. And when Trump was put the initial tariffs on China, Biden blasted them like it was a bad idea. And then when Biden got elected, he left all those policies in place. And now he basically just doubled down on them recently. I want to say it's like 25% on some items, but
Well,
I don't remember.
China's not going to be happy about that, and consumers probably aren't going to be happy about that either. I mean, because obviously it's going to raise the price of things, but that's a delicate issue because then you have sweatshops and all that other stuff.
What are you talking about? Who's sweatshops?
China doesn't use sweatshops?
Do you know it's not cheap to make shit in China anymore?
No, I didn't. I don't.
Yeah, no. The production's leaving China.
Where's it going? Mexico?
A lot of it's going to go to Mexico because they have the demographics and the pricing, whatever, to produce whatever it might be, widgets cheaper than they can be produced in China.
Okay, I didn't know that. So
Yeah.
okay, I stand corrected.
It's going to change in a lot of places because the supply routes are changing because the New World Order is changing.
I do understand the premise of going to Mexico. I watched a little video on it. I think you watched the same one, where basically they can produce stuff over the border in Mexico real cheap, and because there's no tariffs or whatever between Mexico and the U.S., they can just move everything to the U.S. for very low cost.
Whatever it is, for whatever reason, it costs less, and that's all that matters in the world of business. They're gonna, if it's cheaper to make it here, they're gonna do it there.
That's a fair point. All right, well, speaking of Biden passing bills and legislation, let's take a look at this other article that you had brought up earlier.
All right, this is the House bill that would force Biden. Yeah, so Biden is holding some of the arms shipment that went to Israel. Not all of it. He's holding a shipment of 2,000-pound bombs, which are obviously big. They're the ones that leave the big craters in the street or in the buildings, if you've seen anything on Twitter.
So I'm just going to interrupt you for 1 second. So he's holding up the shipment from going to Israel?
Correct.
Okay.
But just the shipment of bombs, not all the other crap, not the other billions of dollars that we sent with other equipment.
So he's sending them money and weapons. He just refuses to send this shipment of bombs?
Correct, because they're big and they're needed. So he's using it as leverage, trying to get them to do what he wants them to do, which they're obviously not doing.
What does he want them to do?
Get out of Rafah. What do you think he wants them to do?
Oh, okay.
Stop killing the people in Gaza.
Well, yeah, okay. So,
Listen, Biden publicly says, don't do this. But behind the scenes, everything happens anyway.
I think that's why I was confused, because I've heard him publicly denounce the violence in the Middle East, but yeah.
Yeah, well, he's losing the election because of it here. So he's trying to word things differently, you know what I mean?
So is this like a PR stunt in a way? Like just
Yes and no.
coming
Like,
out and denouncing the violence like on camera, but then behind the scenes that's not the case?
well, him holding the weapons is kind of like he's trying to use leverage on Israel, but Israel doesn't care. It's not working. Because think about it. You just sent them how many billions of dollars, but you're only holding a small fraction of it back? Like, how is that really going to incentivize the Israelis to do anything what they're already doing?
I think I follow now. So
Okay.
yeah, on the surface level, yeah, to maintain his PR image of trying. Okay, I got it.
Right, because you can report in the news that he's holding weapons, and no one's going to read the article. They're going to see the headline and assume that he's holding weapons. Good job, Joe. You know what I mean? That's all he needs. But this article is now the House passed a bill that would not allow Joe Biden to do this in the future, because Congress said the money has to go, and the president can't stop it.
Okay, I understand.
The Israeli lobby got pissed at Joe for trying to put on a show, and then they got their other people to pass a law that Joe can't do this again.
So it sounds to me like it's some kind of propaganda stunt.
What is?
This whole shebang from Biden, where basically, like I said, on the surface level, like, no, I'm trying to, but really, I'm just really trying to get elected again.
Yeah, but that's why he held the bombs.
Yeah, I follow.
What I'm saying now is this article, the bill that they're passing, would not
allow him to send them at all.
No, he can't stop it anymore. It'll just go.
Oh, duh! I'm so stupid. It's right in the title.
Yeah. So AIPAC backdoored backdoored Biden, and went to the House, which they control or spend enough money on, and got it passed this way. So now the next time they get money or bombs, Biden can't use it against them.
Got it. So he can't use that as any type of leverage.
Correct, but 2,000 bombs are those big nasty things.
Why would AIPAC do that?
Because they're Israel lobby.
Yeah, that does make sense. But doesn't AIPAC want Biden in office? Or do they not really care?
They want their bombs.
Yeah, I get that. But like you mentioned earlier, but by Biden withholding the bombs, it makes him look good, even though he's already sent X amount of money and all of these other weapons over there.
Right.
He looks good from that perspective. So by I don't know, it's just weird to me. So AIPAC forcing the shipment over there makes sense from an Israeli perspective. They want the violence to continue.
Yeah, but it also
hurts Biden's campaign.
Why? It's not his fault they did it. The Congress did it. He tried to stop them. Congress forced it through.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. All right.
And
I understand now.
And now, the next time any president does it, they can't. So they eliminated the obstacle.
They took the middleman out. So now they can just send weapons over there freely. Now I understand.
Yeah. They removed the obstacle.
Sorry, I'm a little slow today. I probably should have had a cup of coffee before we did this.
It's all right.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That makes total sense now. I understand that. Anything else with the article you wanna?
No, it's just corruption as usual.
Yep. Drain the swamp.
But antiwar.com in general is a great site.
I'm already a fan.
Yeah. All right. What do you got tonight?
I really just wanted to talk about Demolition Man. I got a couple things lined up, but I want to save them for future episodes.
Okay.
A lot of it's some theological stuff, and I'm just gonna hold off.
Well, I was gonna ask you, besides fucking E.T., what made you stop believing in the government?
Oh, I haven't believed in the government in quite a long time.
Yeah, but like a couple of years ago or months ago, you didn't say the same things you're saying now.
Oh, yeah. So my awakening or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it definitely stemmed initially from the ETs. It was actually Grush speaking in the Supreme Court. Not just him, but go ahead.
What made you find Grush at the Supreme Court?
Honestly, I was just on YouTube watching gaming videos, like video games and stuff.
Okay.
And it just popped up, and I've always had a fascination with ETs. Always thought that they were real, So none of this stuff was shocking to me. What was shocking to me was that people were swearing under oath in the Supreme Court, testifying that this is legit, and that kind of sent me down a rabbit hole, and I started watching everything everything, and a lot of it's not even newer stuff. A lot of it's older that I had just never seen before, and then.
Okay.
So after I, finish going through this rabbit hole, I had asked myself a question, and it was something that, like, Grush kind of alluded to, along with many other, whistleblowers over the years, is that the government, allegedly has these black ops programs where they've been reverse engineering ET tech as far back as Roswell, and I've even heard farther back than that, where they allegedly found a craft in Italy in like the 1930s. In any case, so that sends me down this rabbit hole, and then I ask myself this question. Well, if these are black ops programs and they operate outside of Congress's jurisdiction, which is absolutely illegal, by the way, to anybody who doesn't know that, who's running them? And that is really what brought me right back into the political game, because I've really been trying to avoid politics for quite a long time now. And that when I started answering that question for myself, that's really what brought me back here. And that's why you almost hear a different version of Paul now than you heard maybe a year ago or 2 years ago.
Yeah, and now you believe the shit I tell you.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that you say nowadays makes a lot more sense to me, maybe than it did. But I think me being stuck in the Matrix for so long, it was actually a good thing, because it gave me, a perspective from being inside the Matrix that I wouldn't otherwise have, had I not been stuck in all of the ideology.
Yeah, I'm just ahead of you, because I was a Republican forever until I really got to, I guess, centenary. I mean, I always talk to our fan congressman, but I was still voting Republican up until 2016. But I was also drinking, so I thought Republicans were right. And then in grad school, I came across Sol and Hayek, and that got me into economics, which got me to Austrian economics, which is what made me libertarian. I didn't become a libertarian or support libertarians and then find the Austrian School of Economics. I found the economic part first, figured that shit out, realized how the Fed works and how the government abuses the Fed. And then once you figure that out, you realize everybody's fucking crooked. And everybody's cheating the system with the Fed. They don't teach you in school how the Federal Reserve works. So once you figure out how the money masters corrupt the money, you realize that both parties spend and spend and spend because they want your votes. Any person, any congressman that goes in and does a good job won't get reelected because he's going to piss people off by making things go away.
It's a good point. So I always ask people, when we talk about like corruption and stuff in DC or, any other states and any government structure, they say, well, how do you know who the corrupted politicians are? And I say, well, there's no way to know 100%, but you can get a good idea. Look who's been in office for a long time. Because again, if you're really trying to do good for the American people, you ain't going to be in office very long. They're going to get rid of you. If you're not playing by their rules, you're not playing by their agenda, you'll get removed in one way or another. So that
there was. Go ahead. Sorry. No,
I was going to say, so that would be the first thing. That's the first thing you can find out. Who may be corrupt is who's been in office for a long time, and then the second thing you can look at is look at their net worth prior to entering office. Look at their net worth now, And if there's a drastic difference, like this person was worth $200,000 and now they're worth $60 million, that's a red flag right there. Again, these are government servants. We are their boss. They work for us. Nobody should be a public servant and making money. You're shaking your head, but we'll get to that. Nobody should be a public servant and making millions of dollars. That's not how our government is designed to work.
Well, I agree with you there. Originally, being in Congress was supposed to be almost like a burden because you were away from your home, you're away from your family, you're away from your job. You did it because you didn't trust anyone else to do it, and you didn't want to be there.
You made a sacrifice for the greater good of the country. Yeah,
and it became a profession.
Yeah, so not to repeat myself, but if you want to know who's corrupted, who's been in office for a long time, and who's made a whole lot of money doing it, that's a good start.
I follow this Twitter, and it's also a website, and you can pay for their real information. It's called Unusual Whales, and they track all the stocks that people in Congress buy.
Okay.
So that's how you know that Nancy Pelosi's up 20 million so far this year.
Can we talk about that for a second? So let that sink in for a second. Anybody who doesn't know, politicians are allowed to freely trade stocks. They also are responsible for making laws, if I understand correctly. So what's to stop them from making laws to support the stocks that they want to see rise?
It's basically insider trading.
Uh-huh. So let's think about this in sports terminology for any sports fans out there. So it's a football game, but the referees are allowed to bet on the game. How confident are you now that this is going to be a legit game and it's not going to have any kind of foul play in it whatsoever? So, yeah, why do we allow this to be a thing? And again, is this the main way that they're getting rich?
Well,
you know more about economics than me.
Well, hypothetically, if you follow the website and you invest in all the same things that Congress does, I mean, some of the people are in the red, but most of them are in the green.
You mentioned Nancy Pelosi. She's, oh God.
Oh yeah, I saw the articles.
They've made a whole lot of money in office, for sure.
Yeah, she's worth more than $200 million.
There you go. That sound like a public servant to you? Sounds to me like she's just taking all the money and putting it in her pocket. That's what it sounds like to me.
Well, it's. I don't think she's stealing it necessarily.
Oh, it's legal because you can legally trade stocks as a politician.
She's getting all types of kickbacks and stuff and yada yada yada.
But is that how our government should work?
No, Paul. Obviously not.
Well, I know. That's what I was hoping you'd say. No need to get upset.
I don't think why you would ask me that question.
Well, because I just like to reiterate points, and you just reiterated it.
All right.
So in any case, yeah, you're right. I agree.
Yeah, F Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
She showed up. She was over in England, right? And you know how like when they hold Congress, they like are on two sides and they get to a table and they yell at each other.
Right.
So she went up against like this younger cat, this British dude, but I'm pretty sure he's not even like an elected official. I think he was someone guest speaking. And Nancy Pelosi tried to like say populism is going to destroy democracy when populism is literally like we the people and we don't trust the government right now.
Right. I mean, what's more democratic than not trusting your government? I mean,
yeah, like look at the definition of populism.
It's wild. I mean, you hear that a lot nowadays, though. Right? Oh, it's a threat to democracy. It's a threat to democracy, especially if Trump's name is involved, you know? Like, oh, he's going to ruin our democracy. Wait, what? That's ridiculous. Yeah, you know what ruins our democracy? When politicians profit and line their own pockets. That ruins democracy. When we get censored and divide and conquer tactics, that ruins democracy. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Populism is to emphasize the idea of we the people, and often against the elites, it's frequently associated with anti-establishment and anti-political sentiment, which is why Nancy Pelosi says it, because she's part of the political establishment.
She definitely is.
And everybody knows it.
She is. Actually, we have a video of Nancy Pelosi, so let's.
This is it. This is part of what she says.
Well, what you were just talking about? Yeah, let's pull that up.
I don't have what the guy responds because it's long.
This one, it's only 23 seconds, at least this
Yeah,
one
that's
is.
why I didn't pull the whole thing up because the whole thing is
Oh,
long.
okay. I misunderstood. I understand now. Let's watch
Jesus
it real quick.
Christ, Paul.
What the fuck, Paul?
Of these poor souls who are looking for some answers. We've given them to them, but they're blocked by some of their views on guns. They have the 3 Gs, guns, gays, God, that would be a woman's right to choose. And the cultural issues cloud some of their reception of an argument that really is in their interest. Of these poor souls.
Maybe, is that the right clip?
Well, it's still her being an idiot, but no, the one she says that populism is a threat to democracy.
Yeah, anyway, well, if you see Nancy Pelosi anywhere, you should probably run the other way. There ain't nothing good gonna come out from Nancy Pelosi, that's for sure.
I never saw her when I was down there. I saw a bunch of congressmen. I saw John Boehner when he was House Speaker.
I'm unfamiliar with him.
He was at the end of Obama. He was, because that's when I was down there during Obama's second term.
Right, when you were studying at school.
Well, yeah, when I went down to be on the Hill at American. When I went down the second time to live, that was grad school.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Politicians, man. What does that mean? Like to be a politician, you know? And just to be fair, there are good politicians out there. I follow some of them. Yeah, there's some. Yeah, Thomas Massey. I don't really know him yet, but from what I've seen of him, yeah, I like him.
Yeah, Thomas Massey.
There are some good politicians out there that are really fighting for the American people, and I think it's important to note that. Unfortunately, there's a lot that aren't, and there's possibly even more corrupt politicians than non-corrupt politicians.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, this is something I found out today, but I asked my wife about it. And she's like, "Oh, I heard that the other day," and I was surprised that she hadn't told me, considering how much we talk about how crazy Puffy is, right? But this isn't Puffy. Will Smith's kid came out.
I think.
Yeah. He came out on some. My dad made me go to Puffy's house and do things I didn't want to do, stuff.
What?
And then there's all these videos that, when you look at them now. But I guess like it looked back then like they had a running gag when Will Smith was always like, "Kiss me, Jaden. I'm gonna kiss you," and Jaden was like, "Oh, Dad, don't kiss me." But a lot of the time, it's like so awkward when you look at it from a different lens. You know what I mean?
Now, yeah. There's been a couple of those. Like I've seen some with Justin Bieber, like where they're like, and he looks so uncomfortable. Like there's a video with him standing next to Puffy, and P. Diddy said some silly, really kind of bizarre thing to him, and he looks just really uncomfortable. I really feel bad for him. I mean, if
recently there's like that video of Bieber and Jaden. They're like on the boardwalk or something, and he like kisses him on the neck to say hello.
Oh God, I didn't see that one.
Oh yeah, it's been around for.
I mean, at least those two are kind of about the same age.
Because they used to go to the same parties, Paul, and did things that they didn't want to do.
Yeah, that seems to be what's going on, and I'm sure we're going to find out a whole lot more about P. Diddy going forward. But yeah, it seems to be the gist of it.
Like some of the, also, I think I sent you the thing on Twitter to you, not to the page, but there's this video of Will Smith and Carlton is like, it's not Fresh Prince, it's like for something else, and Carlton's like giving the "we'll be right back" thing, and it's like Will Smith's behind him and like 2 other guys, but Will Smith keeps like grabbing his chest and going at his nipples, and then he grabs his crotch, like almost like playing hee hee, but he's like, I don't know, it's weird to see Will Smith, even though it's Hollywood and you can kind of see it, whatever, but after seeing this clip in this documentary that I was watching, dude.
Yo, am I the only one that saw this? Watch Will. Titty grab. Then he grabs his ass. Will is molesting Carlton on television. Titty grab again, then the face, and now he's gonna grab his titty again, then the dick. Me too. Me too.
one of the dudes who was I'm telling you, it's in the thing I sent you. And you remember how I said that it's always like the other people that are there that know all the dirt,
Yeah.
not like because there's still waitresses and bartenders and your manager and your people.
Yeah,
You know what I
people
mean?
see stuff, yeah.
So
Or overhear things maybe they shouldn't know have
one
overheard.
of and bodyguards, always bodyguards. So one of Puffy's bodyguards was part of like the gang he was in, right? So he was paying his people to be his security, basically.
One of
And
Go ahead.
and they went into shopping into a store, and it was like an erotic sex toy store in New York somewhere. And he said Puffy walked in, the owner handed him a brown paper bag. He walked around, put some stuff in it, and then walked out and just put a bunch of money on the counter and walked out, right?
Okay.
So the security guard was like letting Puffy do his thing and following him, but he sees him going like this, he sees him going like that, and putting stuff in the bag. So when he walks by, he looks up to see what he got, and it was a bunch of butt plugs. But because they're homies from the gang, this is what the guy said. He was like, "Yo, Puff, what are you getting butt plugs for, man?" And he said, Puff yelled at him and said, "Don't worry about what I'm doing when I'm shopping."
I saw that actually, yeah. I
Yeah,
saw
yeah,
that.
okay.
Yeah. Man, I've heard rumors that Will Smith is actually gay. These are rumors. I don't know.
Dude,
But
that
this
dude
fits
we're
right in
talking
with
about.
that. I'm
Hold
sorry?
on, the guy we're talking about who said what he saw about Puffy, he also said that he caught Will Smith with someone named Dwayne bent over, but I couldn't figure out who Dwayne is.
I've heard. I don't know if it's Dwayne, but yeah, I've heard stuff about Will Smith. It doesn't matter that he's gay, but
No,
when you,
who cares about
I
that,
know,
dude?
but I want to say that for our audience, so just chill. It doesn't matter that he's gay, right? But again, when we start looking at like the P Diddy narrative, I really like Will Smith as an actor, and I really hope that he didn't partake in many of the things that P Diddy is accused of.
Well, it looks like he brought his kid into it,
Which is
like
even worse.
on
So
some other
you
shit.
pimping your kid out to. I hope that's not true.
Well, Jaden's coming out and saying it. It's not like it's a rumor and someone got a story from somebody, like the kid saying it.
If he's saying it, I mean,
And the kid's been weird the whole time. I always like didn't like him.
I always just figured it was because he was a celebrity, and like
Yeah, I thought he sucked ass
celebrity
'cause he-
kids. They're always they don't grow up like normal people.
Yeah, like he thought he was good and everything, but now I feel bad for him.
I never had a problem with Jaden, but yeah, if
Oh,
that's
I
true, I
hated-
definitely feel bad for
I
him.
hated the
That's
Karate
terrible.
Kid movie. Fucking hated it.
I never saw it.
I couldn't even get through the first half hour.
I never saw it. But yeah, it's the P Diddy's bodyguard or former bodyguard or whatever was also the bodyguard for Michael Jackson and was there when Michael Jackson was found. He was actually the person that found him, if I understand correctly. So I don't know, but I think we're going to get a whole lot more information regarding the whole P Diddy situation throughout the rest of this year.
Maybe. I
Maybe.
mean, he's got money and he's got lawyers, so they can drag it out and
He does.
do their best to keep it out of the news for as long as he can until something happens.
He does, but the FBI raided his home simultaneously.
Okay.
All right, so does the FBI raid homes just on a
No,
hunch?
we talked about this the other day. Normally, when the feds are on you, it's over for you.
Exactly. So that's why I'm
But-
saying I'm pretty sure we're going to hear a lot more about this.
Well, there's the big but is did the feds go in early to clear out some of their stuff that could hurt some of their people?
Oh, that's fair.
And then you eventually Puffy gets off with something ridiculous at the end. You know what I mean?
So one of my initial concerns when this story first dropped, and I was like, oh my God, they raided Puffy's house. Who raided his house? And it was the FBI. And then as soon as I saw that, I immediately had concerns for some of the reason you just said, like, well, did they go in there and maybe pull out any stuff that might be damaging to any of their people? I don't know. But I trust the FBI about as much as I trust the U.S. government, which is not at all. Yeah. So did you have any more that you wanted to add to the P Diddy topic before we switch
No,
gears?
it was more of the fact that I heard about Will Smith's kid as opposed to Puffy. It was just that that Jaden said that his father, forced him to go to these things and basically do things he didn't want to do.
I mean, that just paints a whole new light on Will Smith, doesn't it? Like that's.
Yeah.
I mean, the image that Will Smith has been presenting to us since the late '80s, early '90s, and to hear that. Wow. So we got one more little clip that I know that you wanted to share. That's just
because this is outside the NRA's. The NRA's having a convention or a meeting or something, and then I saw this, so I thought it'd be funny to share it. Eventually, at some point.
As soon as I catch up,
It'll
with the
happen.
rest of everybody.
Here we go.
That is kind of funny. I want to let him know once more. So, what does ATF stand for again?
Alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. And dog killing, because they kill dogs.
Ew, why?
Because they shoot dogs all the time. Every time they raid houses, they just shoot dogs.
Oh, like dogs like all dogs? Like what
Pretty
if
much.
it's like what if the dog's like this big? They shoot it anyway?
Pretty much.
That's terrible.
There's
So-
plenty of videos of them going on property, and the dog runs up and they just shoot it without fucking question.
No, that's terrible. Come on. I understand if the dog's like coming at you and shit. You got a job to do. It's a big German Shepherd. It's coming at you all aggressively. You got to do what you got to do. But
Yeah, you're raiding somebody's house with a warrant, and it's the wrong person's house, and then you shoot his dog and raid the wrong person's house, because that shit happens all the time.
that's definitely happened. That's terrible.
How many? Let me ask you this question: how many times do you think in America that in all the states and all the cities, how many times do you think SWAT is deployed and kicks in a door every year?
All in all, for all the states,
All states.
100 times.
100 times?
Yeah. How many?
So they always
how many?
do
Oh,
100
actually, in
more?
all the states, I
All
don't
the
know,
states,
a
all the
1,000
cities and-
times. How many times does SWAT show up?
Over 50,000 doors they've
Wow.
kicked in every year.
50,000 a year?
Since like 2015, I think it's up to higher now. I'm lowballing it because I don't have the stats in front of me.
Wow.
From 2015, it's been over 50. I want to say it's 80, but I can't remember. I don't want to quote me on that.
Right. So you're unsure, but it's a lot. That's. I mean, my first question is, well, why? Why more now than ever before? Like, are there
Well,
more
a
criminals
lot of them-
around? Or go ahead.
Well, there's all those FISA warrants and the no-knock warrants, and they treat everything as a SWAT situation now.
So is a change in policy maybe that's led to this?
Well, yeah, and also probably just the. Well, I mean, I guess I don't know, but they're obviously upping their tactics for everybody. I mean, it's not like they haven't killed a whole bunch of innocent people when they kick in doors at night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure that's definitely happens. Where they again maybe even break into the wrong house, or maybe they shoot somebody
That's
that maybe they
happened
shouldn't have shot.
And then you break into the wrong house, and that person thinks they're being fucking robbed, and they pick up their legally owned gun, and and the ATF lights them up, or the DEA lights them up, or cops light them up.
Oh, you don't really see too many of those stories on the mainstream news, that's for sure. Wow, that's crazy. I didn't imagine it was that much. You would think
Well,
like
here we go. In the United States, by 2005, SWAT teams were deployed 50,000 times every year. Almost 80% of that time was to serve search warrants, most often narcotics. By 2015, the number of annual SWAT deployments had increased to nearly 80,000 times a year. Wow. So I was off. It was 2015, it was 80,000.
wow, that's crazy. So I mean, and it's a little disturbing too, because I would think now, like, as time goes on, like, we would have less and less reason to SWAT, but apparently not.
No, the state wants to express more and more power.
They're doing it. They're doing it, and as long as everybody just sits idly by and just focuses on whatever, and we don't talk about these things or do anything about it, it's going to continue. It's going to get worse.
There's a couple seasons in The Wire, but at the end of one of the seasons, like the gangsters all in one spot and they're about to go do a hit, right? And the cops get tipped off about it. And so they're sitting there with all the other cops that are going to help them take down the door, right? And they have SWAT and everybody with them. And they're like, what are we doing? We're gonna kick this door down while all these guys got guns? We know they're surrounded. Let's go knock on the door and yell police. And the guys everyone just gave up. You know what I mean?
Wow. Well, The Wire, I've not seen the whole thing. I've seen.
Jesus, I can't.
I know. This is Billy Goat's favorite show, just so everybody knows. And I've heard nothing but
show ever made. It's the best show ever made. Ever. Ever.
It's not just you. I've had numerous people tell me that show is excellent and that I need to watch it. So yeah, The Wire used to be on HBO. I have no idea what it's airing on now. What?
It's only on HBO. They haven't aired it on anything else.
Okay, so it's still on HBO. But yeah, I've heard nothing but phenomenal stuff about that show. And the guy who directed it or produced it, I forget his name, but I actually watched another documentary that he did about poverty and drugs. Actually, in college, I watched it, and it was also excellent. It wasn't a TV show.
In Baltimore. He also did there's a shorter HBO 6-episode thing called The Corner. And that's older, but that was about Baltimore too. He used to be a Baltimore newspaper guy.
I think you told me that.
Yeah, David Chase.
Yeah.
Yeah, he also did We Own the City, which John Barron. It's 6 episodes long. It's really, really good. It's called We Own the City.
I'll have to check those out because yeah, he does excellent work.
Wayne Jenkins is off the chain, yo.
What was the one dude's Bubbles? I think I always remember him. He was like a crackhead.
Yeah, the homeless.
Yeah, poor guy.
He was a homeless drug addict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a bad guy, just in a bad situation.
Yeah, he's one of the main characters of the whole show. Good redemption arc.
Yeah. So,
but hold on, the one We Own the City is about this dude named Wayne Jenkins, who was a real cop, part of like a special get guns off the street plainclothes unit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
undercover narcotics officer.
Yeah, narcotics, guns, whatever.
Right.
All crooked. They were robbing drug dealers. They were robbing regular citizens all the time. Like the cops in Baltimore were so corrupt that when it came time to put Wayne Jenkins and the other cops on trial, they couldn't find 12 people who didn't have a beef with the cops. Because the cops were so bad, they were pulling over regular Joe citizens and treating them like shit too.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, it just goes to show you the corruption. It just seeps down from the top, you know. Well.
Yeah, stealing drugs, selling drugs. It was just murder.
At the end of the day, it's really just all about this, right? Because if you take this away, there's no corruption.
It wasn't even that long ago. It was like 2016, maybe, if not more recent than that.
I wonder. I mean, I don't know. It could be the documentary I saw. I saw this documentary probably 10 years ago in a college course. But yeah, it was fascinating, and everything that he was saying, because he was actually narrating it, it was spot on. It made perfect sense to me. I wish I could remember the name of it. Anyway, yeah, The Wire, guys. Again, I never seen it, but I just hear nothing but wonderful things. If you're into like real life.
If you're into the greatest TV shows of all time, you should probably watch it.
There you go.
It is, man. I've seen it so many times.
If you want to watch the greatest TV show of all time, watch The Wire. It's got to be up there. Like I said, I just hear people just raving about it for years.
It's better than The Sopranos. Way better than The Sopranos. And it's better than Breaking Bad. I'm sorry.
There you go. You guys heard. Actually, I haven't seen Breaking Bad. Again, I hear good things. I don't think it's my cup of tea.
Breaking Bad's all right. It's got some cool stuff. It's just The Wire is so much more than just like a show. Like you just get. It's like you can almost like realistically see what it's like in Baltimore. The corruption of the schools, the corruption of the cops, the mayor, how the kids live, how the drug dealers, the game is the game, man.
We haven't really talked about the drug game yet, but the drug game is operated, and it's by more than just the cartels. There's other groups that are involved. And I'll leave it there.
It's just smuggling.
Well, it's more than that. But yeah, The Wire. I've never seen the whole show, but I've seen episodes of it and clips of it. It almost reminds me of like Game of Thrones, where you have like all of these different story arcs going on. Like it'll follow the cops. You'll be with the detectives for 10 minutes, and then it'll jump to the main drug dealer, and then it'll jump to like the people in the street. So it's kind of interesting in that regard, how it kind of doesn't follow like a single narrative. It follows all of these narratives and just kind of jumps back and forth between them.
And then at the end, you see the story, but all the pieces matter.
Yes, it all connects. Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
So yeah, all right, The Wire, Demolition Man. Whatever movie you told me in the beginning, I already forgot, with Jack Lemmon or whatever in it, but I'll re-look it up.
Glenn Ross.
Yeah, your shirt, that one.
And don't watch the new Roadhouse because it's not worth it.
You heard it here first.
Do yourself a favor and just go watch the old one
on repeat.
Yeah, Kelly Lynch is the girl in it.
Who's Kelly Lynch?
The blonde in the first Roadhouse.
She's in the reboot too, or in the sequel, or whatever this is?
No, it's in the sequel. Some other random chick.
Oh, okay. I got what you're saying. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it doesn't follow the same storyline. Besides the fact that there's a bar.
I think I saw instead this time he's like a former Ultimate Fighter that turns bouncer, which makes sense.
Basically, yeah, he's like shamed, and he's like down on his luck or whatever. It doesn't matter. Did you know there's actually is a Roadhouse 2?
No, is Patrick Swayze in it?
No. Oh. The star is I can't remember if he's the good guy or the bad guy, but it's Gary Busey's kid.
Oh, Jack Busey?
Jack Busey. Yeah. It happens in like Florida, and there's like alligators or something.
That sounds accurate. They probably live in Florida too. I would imagine Gary Busey living out in like the middle of the woods in Florida, surrounded by like a moat of gators, just surrounding his house.
He was kind
of a what's that?
Busey's kid is funny.
Yeah, I like both of them. I mean, Gary, he had that unfortunate accident, and he just kind of never came back the same way. But he was a great actor, and maybe still is. I don't know. I haven't seen him in anything in a while.
Utah, get me 2.
Yeah. I always loved Predator 2. He's great in that.
Oh yeah.
What's his name? Like Keys or something like that.
Yeah, it is. That one. Oh.
But his magnum opus, in my opinion, is his appearance in Lethal Weapon. I think that might be, I don't know if that's his first role, but that's the first time I ever recall seeing him. But yeah, that fight on the front lawn at the end of that movie.
He's the villain. He's the villain. Yeah.
And by the way, Mel Gibson chokes him out with a triangle choke, which I don't even know if that was invented then. So yeah, check that out. Anybody who's familiar with MMA, chokes him out with a triangle at the end of the movie, which wouldn't even become like a normal word for MMA until probably 20 years later. Or maybe not quite that long, but anyway. So yeah, this looks like a good place or a good time to wrap it up, unless you got anything else you want to add.
Nah, and I don't know. I guess I'll get at you tomorrow.
Okay, that sounds good, and we'll return for episode 4. Peace, everybody.
Later.
He doesn't know how to use the 3 seashells.
I can see how that could be confusing.